How do you think brands should approach using agencies, freelancers, and consultants at a time when marketing budgets are being cut back? They have to be agile, they have to be creative, they have to think of cost effective ways of getting the work done. Where do they start if they've been leaning into in house resources on a regular basis and now the landscape changed and they've got a small team and they need to figure out a new way of operating? What would you advise a CMO or CEO who needs to leverage third party resources more than ever?
It's an interesting situation because in a way it is more expensive in some ways to hire external resources than having them in-house in a lot of cases. So I think it's a mistake to let go of all the designers or creative resources in-house. I believe that you need some in-house. I see the role of agencies as being like a true collaboration or an extension of an in-house. Like you said, I've been on the agency side for a really long time with some client that we spend years working with and as an extension to their team. And I think that kind of model works really well if you become so close to them that it's almost like you're in-house. And since we have like a small external studio that we work with day in day out, they've been there for a really long time, and they help scale the output, I think like the day to day. So I think that's one way for agency, I think, is to scale the work, so being able to deliver more. And in that sense, you can externalize to potentially cheaper resources. We're in a global economy, so there's also great designers in a lot of different places where that could be a good way to not spend as much but use great creative resources in other places of the world, like not especially in the US, but you can go to cheaper markets. But I also see the value in really creative agencies that you will bring in to bring that extra creativity. So I think there's two different type of agencies and two different ways to work with agency. One is to scale, like the outcomes, and one is to think outside the box on kind of more a bigger campaign or a specific piece of content or a piece of video that you really care about. Video is a really great one because it's really hard to have in-house video resources because you might not need them all the time, although you can argue now that you need them more and more and that you should get like video in-house. But I think for big creative or video production or animation, then it makes sense to go to external agency. But I think either way, what's important is to work with agencies as collaborators, not like I'm your client, here's what you need to do, but more you're hiring them for the expertise. So trust that they will give that expertise and help you. I feel like sometimes you see that with clients. And having been on the agency side, I've been that agency where clients just hire you and then they just tell you exactly what to do. And then you're like, why did you hire me if you don't listen to my advice? So I think it's listening to the advice and let them do what they're good at, which is those cool creative ideas are sometimes a lot harder to do when you're in-house because you're so embedded into the day-to-day and the politics that you can't really think a bit wider. Agency also have the benefit that they work on a lot of clients. So they have a big more of an opening on what's happening in the rest of the world. So you can benefit from that, I think, as a company. So I like both. I like having an in-house team, but being able to work with freelancers or agencies when needed on specific projects.